So the latest episode for Solo Leveling dropped, and it was a mix of holy shit, this is amazing, and a mix of the pacing could be much better, much better. Please stop wasting time here. This is not One Piece animators adapting one chapter per episode. But hey, what happened, and what we have is episode 4 of Solo Leveling. Welcome to the channel, and for starting, I would like to appreciate the interest you're showing in the Solo Leveling, let's say, analysis. They are a bit short. I'm not trying to make it. Do want to have them at 8 minutes marks. They would be recommended better and shit. But hey, as much as it gets, I'm not gonna just as we say in Farsi, nawar khali portan, which means recording an empty cassette tape, like as in just continuing something, like prolonging it too much, milking it, let's say, somehow. So this episode, first of all, let's talk about the pacing, because the pacing wasn't that great. Let's say that, hey, many of the parts that were extended could be not extended that much, and could be much, let's say, smaller in scale and time that they consume from us, the audience. And it makes me wonder, are they saving up time and animators, the time for animators and stuff for the next episodes, the next few episodes? That could be the case, but considering the fact that the first 2 episodes were pretty fast-paced, not fast-paced and as in I'm not trying to say it was bad or anything. It was actually, let's say, not fast-paced, but ideal fast-paced, as in the pacing was great. Many things happened. You weren't confused about what happened. You got to understand what happened, and it wasn't making you sit down and listen to a dude talking to himself in a way that to convey, let's say, information that are pretty much obvious and could be summarized much better. Like a voiceover could have done every single thing we had here, but they didn't do that. They extended it too much. I do understand, on the other hand, that this is part of the world building and it had to be done, but in my opinion, the pacing was bad. It was just bad. And the fact that they finished it with the boss fight and that same the thing about the gate thingy that he actually attacked, the dungeon break thingy that he attacked, I do understand they wanted to end it on a manhwa chapter, but hey, the pacing was bad. On the other hand, what actually caught my attention, first of all, as always, the beautiful scores and the OST, the background music, used by made by the legend himself, Sawano. It was amazing. Hiroyuki Sawano is a genius at making music and making OSTs for anime and for anything he actually wants to do. It was fucking amazing, and it made the anime be much superior to the manhwa, to the web novel, to the novels, whatever. And on the other hand, and being an extension of the beauties we saw and we heard, is beautiful. The first choreography and also the animation and everything of the fight that we had. It was amazing. It was a pretty amazing fight, and it wasn't god tier, it wasn't masterpiece, but it was pretty great, and I didn't expect to see a fight of this caliber in Solo Leveling. And do remember, we are talking about a power fantasy that relies on, of course, battles, because it's power fantasy, it's not intelligence fantasy. That could also even rely a bit too much on battles too, because hey, it could be mages and shit. But Solo Leveling, the animation, if the animation is good, if the fight choreographies are good, the score is good because we have Sawano, we could end up having one of the best animes of the season, or at least this year, 2024, considering what we have that is going to be adapted. It could end up being a direct competitor to Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, going forward. It's not happening right now. It has much lengths to go in the anime department. I do realize, and I have talked about, I don't think I talked about that in this channel, but Kimetsu no Yaiba has a myriad of huge issues in the storyline and plot and character development and everything. Let's not go into there, but good animation, good score is pretty essential for a power fantasy such as Solo Leveling. And the battle did not disappoint. Some parts of the episode were like, a little bit of lazy drawing. I do think that is for the next episode and just leaving it here. But if for some reason the next episode doesn't go into the next dungeon and doesn't end the next dungeon, I would be pretty worried, because as far as we know, it's 12 episodes, the Solo Leveling we are gonna get this season. Except that I have heard some rumors that I'm not really sure what to think about them, that hey, we are going to have a second cour, and it's going to be 24 episodes. So that would get us, if they do not, the pacing gets okay again, that would actually get us up to chapters 60 or 70, and that's pretty okay in my opinion. I just hope they don't waste too much time, and some of the scenes they used here were reused from the last episodes, and I do not appreciate that, considering how much they have to adapt and considering it's a power fantasy. Now, just going into the material itself, Jinwoo. First of all, I do remind you, this is a power fantasy. Do not expect Jujutsu level or Attack on Titan level of, let's say, psychology thing into the psychology mixed into the mind of people and stuff. I am capable of doing that, but I do not have the agency to do that in a work that clearly doesn't have that, at least as much. But hey, Jinwoo, as a character, as you can see, he is pretty angry and pretty sad with himself and with the world, and he has good reason to be in that situation and in that position. You are deemed as the weakest hunter of all time, in the history of all time, whatever. And people do not respect you at all. They just want to use you for their own goals, and you do not even get enough money to get by. And do remember, Jinwoo is a pretty honest guy. Many of the people in our own world and in many of the fantasy worlds and many of the works we see, read, or experience are, of course, they do not have much morality, or that has to see with what is the degree of the lack of morality, or the opposite side of them, how much morality you have. It's not a black and white thing. But I am going to give you an example from Solo Leveling that pretty much shows the situation. We have the dude that he was like, yeah, I have a family, and I want to go and see my family. And Jinwoo is like, bro, I have a family too. You just think about yourself. It's a selfish thing, and it's eat or be eaten. And he actually decides to be the one that eats, let's say. And he does that with the agency otorged to him. I was getting my Spanish just kicked in. Given to him by whoever or whatever gave the power, and he can actually level up now. He can actually try to be better. So do remember, as a power fantasy, this is a pretty standard way to start the story. And do remember, it gets much better story-wise too. Just give it a little bit of time, and the world building is good, and they are building up on it, and that's amazing. But do not expect anything from a power fantasy that is not trying to be. It's not trying to be free. It's not trying to be that deep. It's not trying to be Jujutsu Kaisen with pretty peculiar and amazing foreshadowings we had. Even though we had 2 instances of foreshadowing in this episode too, especially with the dialects. That was pretty amazing to me, and it foreshadows a, let's say, piece of information that is essential to the story. And I'm not gonna spoil you, but that you will understand that much later on. But it was, let's say, foreshadowed and hinted at here, and that I appreciated that a lot, and appreciate that a lot. But Jinwoo is an angry man. He's a sad man, and he has all the reason to be. You can't not like him being sad, or not accept him being sad and angry. On the other hand, the girl we have, that I do forget her name because she's not that important anyway. She is a typical Sakura to Sasuke now, and Sakura being her and Sasuke being Jinwoo. And it doesn't really matter that much. I'm not gonna read into that too much, but that's one of the examples I'm going to use to show you that at least at this point in the story, do not try to get too deep into the story. Just grab your whatever snack you use when you are watching anime, YouTube, or anything. We do know that you can't watch anything without eating at the same time. I can't do that myself. But please do that and enjoy the ride for now. It gets much better later on. Give it a little bit of time, as someone that has read the manhwa. Thank you very much for watching. As we say in Farsi, Shabatum Bey, Rustunam Bekhay. I will probably make another weekly videos on Solo Leveling. But actually this week, no, the next week I will probably have a little bit of delay. Also, quick update for the bros here that do know my situation. I am going to finish my master's thesis in exactly 19 days. It's the what was it? It's the defense thingy that we have that is just seals the deal, and that's it. Hopefully, and I'm pretty sure, 100% confident that my thesis will be done, and I will give you links. It's in Spanish fully. I will give you a link for you to read it whenever it's published. Thank you very much for watching, and fela.